Very good evening to you. It's the OFC President's Cup Final 2014. Auckland City FC taking on Amicale at the Trust Arena, Henderson, Auckland, New Zealand. And it's a beautiful, beautiful evening. Quite different to the weather that we had at the start of this competition. I'm Gordon Watson, and I'll be describing the action for you along with Indra Singh. Indra, welcome.
Yeah, very good afternoon or evening here in Auckland. Gordy, as you mentioned, great weather for football, and what a great atmosphere in front of us with a grand final coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two teams have formed quite a bit of a rivalry in Oceania in recent years. They've played each other 7 times, and the last 4 of those meetings have resulted in 2 wins for Amicale, a draw for Amicale in Auckland, and then, of course, Auckland winning the one when it counted the most. But intriguing how close it's getting between these two clubs.
Yeah, Gordy, not so long back when we had that grand game in Lautoka in the OFC Champions League between Auckland City and Amicale, and Dominic Fred, the boys from Amicale, upset Auckland City. Auckland City bounced back. Previously, it was to be Waitakere, Auckland City bar. Now Amicale is in the mix, and we await to see what they bring to the field this evening.
So, as part of the inaugural OFC President's Cup, UNICEF Pacific had a deep involvement with the competition and running a series of social responsibility programs. We can now take a speech from Isabel Austin, who's a Deputy Representative of UNICEF Pacific.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OFC President's Cup Grand Final match. Of course, it wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, and one of our major sponsors is UNICEF. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Isabel Austin, the Deputy Representative of UNICEF Pacific.
Thank you very much. The President, David Chung, President of the Oceania Football Confederation and the Vice President of FIFA, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, and dear children, what a great way to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. We have fantastic weather. You've had 3 days of superb events where children from the Pacific have met each other. I've had opportunities to visit children of New Zealand in their own schools. They have become friends. They have learned a lot together. And this is the purpose of this partnership. We often hear about the right to health, the right to education, the right to protection. Now the right to play actually embodies all these rights with around just one ball. Look at what you have been able to achieve over the past few days. Just think for a minute how this program is transforming lives of many children throughout the 7 countries of the Pacific that are already taking part of the program, and soon many more to join them. So this one football has become a vital tool helping UNICEF and the Oceania Football Confederation to provide educational opportunities to children through play. They learn about teamwork, they learn about fair play, they learn about playing together, girls and boys, able and disabled children together. Physical activity and exercise is fun. It's good for their health and it's good for their brain. So let's have one more round of fun this evening in this closing match. And on behalf of UNICEF, I would like to acknowledge the support and contribution of the United Kingdom National Committee for UNICEF, the 20th Glasgow Commonwealth Games for their continued support to the Just Play program, and of course all the other partners, including the Australian government, the Australian Football Federation, and the Union of the UEFA, the Union of European Football Association. And again, our grateful thanks to Mr. David Chung, the President of the Oceania Football Confederation and FIFA Vice President, and all the member associations for their support, commitment, and for sharing the valuable platform of football to support UNICEF broader advocacy and transformation in the region. So let's have fun, and thank you to the children and the players tonight. And in French we say, que le meilleur gagne. And my heart is a little bit with Vanuatu tonight. Thank you.
So Isabel Austin of UNICEF, and of course football, a very powerful unifying tool, as we've seen with teams from 3 confederations competing at this event. Indra?
Yeah, definitely, and it was a great concept, I think, for the past week that we've seen teams from around the world featuring here, and it's just a dream, in particular if you look at teams like Amicale and the Pacific players who don't get chances to play against players from Bahrain, etc. What a concept, and football definitely a unifying factor here this week.
Certainly we've seen UNICEF programs at work in the OFC Champions League with the Kick Dengue Out of Fiji campaign. And no doubt there will be many, many more to come as that partnership realises its key objectives. So let's take a look at the lineups that we will be watching this evening. Of course, the road to the final. Auckland accounting for Singapore under-23 and Bodentown convincingly. Amicale beat Fiji 3-0, but look at that result. Amicale 2, Busutine 1. That was a real boil-over. The amateurs beating the professionals and earning their way to another final. Auckland City, it's a team that has all-white Tim Payne restored to its lineup. Darren White is back in a forward position, replacing the injured Andrew Milne. And Ivan Visilic is skipper, of course. Tamati Williams back in goal. And no surprises about how they line up. Belanga is sitting in at right back. Centre halves, Irving and Beelan, Iwata, Visilic, and Burfoot and Payne in midfield. For Amicale, they've also gone with what they know best. It's a 4-2-3-1 formation spearheaded by the Fijian Osea Vakatalasau, Francois Sakama and Dominique Fred on the flanks, but Nikos Panagiotis has dropped out of that role just in behind Osea, and he's playing as one of the defensive midfielders, but I'm sure we're going to see him change around.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm looking forward to seeing Osea Vakatalasau coming from Fiji, the former barman who's taken the Oceania football circle by storm in the past number of years, Gordon, and it'll be very interesting when he comes up here against the likes of Ivan Visilic in defence, the veteran, the ambassador of Oceania football.
So as part of our pre-match protocols, the dignitaries meeting the players of Amicale in Auckland City, led by the OFC President, Mr. David Chung. And Isabel Austin of UNICEF, also part of that contingent. It is hoped that the future for the OFC President's Cup will feature teams from the K-League and possibly from the CONCACAF Champions League. I know that talking to media that are here from the Caribbean, that this has been received very positively in that part of the world in terms of the value it's added for Bodden Town. And tonight, the prize that is up for grabs is the OFC President's Cup trophy, made by Thomas Light, the company that makes the EPL trophy. You may notice or spot a resemblance to the English Premiership trophy. That's because it's the same company. It's worth over 20,000 New Zealand dollars. And we're not far away from a start here. The referees and match officials for this evening are led by Fijian Amitesh Bihari. And his assistant referees are Terry Piri of the Cook Islands, Folio Moeaki of Tonga, and the fourth official, who handled the third place match as referee, is Mr. Nelson Sogo of the Solomon Islands. So, Indra, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you who's going to win tonight.
Gotti, having watched these two teams in action for the past week, as I mentioned, Amicale looked good in every match that they played, and they struggled a bit in the first one against the Fiji under-20s, and then they bounced back to beat Busaitin, the boil-over against Busaitin, and then Auckland City. Haven't been tested. Comfortable wins, 9 goals and 4 goals, but I still think that they will start favourites in this game with the experience that's laced along this Auckland City starting 11 that they've announced to take on the Amicale side from Vanuatu. So maybe they might just have an edge, just closely. It won't be any repeat of what they faced in pool play, got it?
No. This is going to be far from an easy task for the host club. But this Amicale club, who have emerged as a jewel and Pacific football's crown, is getting closer and closer to wrestling the OFC Champions League trophy away from Kiwatea Street. It's almost been able to find its own way there over the last 4 years. 6 times in all since 2006. Amicale have gone close twice and come up short both times against Auckland. This would be a great opportunity to throw down a marker for next April.
And I'm also excited about watching the 2 goalkeepers in action, 2 of the better goalkeepers in the Oceania region. Tamadi Williams with the all-white and Chikau Mansale from Vanuatu, the Vanuatu national team goalkeeper. He's not a tall guy, but he comes out with some daring saves in the matches we've seen.
He was brilliant against Busaitin, absolutely brilliant. And he also delivered a very competent and, dare I say it, a professional performance in the win over Fiji under-20s. He's going to have another evening, much like the previous 2 that he's enjoyed. And for Auckland City, they leave Monday week for Dubai and a friendly against Uzbekistan in the UAE on December the 4th. And then they take on Maghreb Tetuan in the FIFA Club World Cup playoff on December the 10th. And it's a game that not only has considerable importance, or obvious vital importance for Auckland City, but also for all clubs around the Oceania region. It's been 5 long years since Auckland finished 5th and earned a prize pool of $1.5 million for Oceania Football Confederation and New Zealand Football and the clubs that form the ASB Premiership. And it just keeps Oceania's club sides in that competition. There's always, of course, some degree of scepticism about the merits of having an Oceania club side in that contest, but as we've seen in the improvement in the OFC Champions League over the last few years, and most poignantly with Amicale themselves, that the standard is lifting all the time. And in order for that to continue. They need tournaments like the OFC Presidents Cup. They need success at the FIFA Club World Cup. And we're underway at Truss. And already a dodgy distribution from Brian Keltak. Indra, we saw a great match from Osea Vakatalasau against Buzaitin. He never stopped working, and sometimes he has been known to do that for Bar, just try and rest for a bit, but he was working non-stop.
He's just got a high work rate when he's on his peak, and when you see him in his peak, Osea is definitely one of the better players and one of the stars of Oceania football, Gordon.
So that attack breaks down. David Kim's cross was cut out. That's a good ball from Osea Vakatalasau. Panagiotis plays Francois Sakama, another player who stood out against Buzaitin. That's a cross into the box. Belanga has Dominic Fred behind him and intelligently nods it back to his goalkeeper. Spent a year in Indian football with Sporting Club de Goa, of course, in his second spell with Auckland City. Here's Irving. That's some pass by John Irving. White for Belanga. It's going to be interesting to see just how Amicale back up after their exertions against Buzaitin. They weren't expected to win that game, of course, and boy, did they put on a show. Just wonder how much it's taken out of them.
Yeah, but the positive part for Amicale, I believe, is that they've had a better rest period than Auckland City. Auckland City playing on Friday and back in action now. Look at Osea almost chasing that ball down. That's what he's going to do all afternoon, all evening long for this Amicale team.
Here's Achino. Played in the Coppa Italia a couple of seasons ago. Obviously of Italian extraction himself. Sakama fell, but he intelligently put himself between Takuya Iwata and the ball. He's managed to get across, and Mario Beelan hooks it clear.
Great to see Belanga back at this level. Unfortunate injury he suffered at the OFC Champions League in April in Lautoka.
Yes, he's made a miraculous recovery. I remember we all saw that tackle. It was horrific, but he's back and fully fit. Here's Tade. He evades Brian Keltak. Tim Payne to his right. He takes a shot. Deflection. It's hooked away by Michel Gracia. Now it's Chino. Sakama. Well, 10,000 people turned out for the OFC Champions League final first leg back in late April to witness a 1-1 draw. We haven't got anywhere near that sort of crowd number here tonight, but that's not totally unexpected.
Brian Kaltak is the other one that I've been really impressed with in this tournament. Been rock solid at the back for Amicale.
Yes, like so many others in the Amicale side, he just seemed to grow in stature as that match progressed. Once they got used to the pace that Buzaitin were playing at and they'd weathered the storm, they'd gone a goal down, they just seemed to get better and better. Certainly they'll be hoping that they can keep that level of consistency here this evening and knock Auckland over. That would be a big psychological blow and an interesting result ahead of the FIFA Club World Cup as Auckland seek to prepare for that. Here's Dominic Fred, who's inflicted damage on Auckland many times previously. He scored the winning goal at the OFC Champions League group stage match and managed to get on the score sheet in the first leg. Of course, another interesting subplot here this evening is Ian Hogg, the All Whites defender, a former Auckland City player himself, playing at left back for Amicale.
They've recruited well for this OFC Champions League that they're building up for April. Andrew Leong and the Red Rooster of Amicale.
Yes, Andrew Leong is a serious businessman and serious about his football, and you only need to see the calibre of player he's managed to attract to his club. It's not often you get players who have played in the Coppa Italia just turning up to play for non-New Zealand teams, if it's all right to say that. Here's Tamari Williams racing off his line to pick that ball up. Osea Vakatalasau was chasing him down. Of course, the other player who's really stood out for me in Amicale colours is Nikos Panagiotis. He scored a cracking winning goal against Buzaitin. Around 50 appearances in the A-League, and Mansale's come out. He's headed it clear. It's chipped, and the chip was executed poorly from Tim Payne, who's just come back from international duty with the All Whites.
God, what a great evening this is. We've got Ian Hogg, who's a former All-White, and Tim Payne, who is a current All-White, Tamati Williams, who's been a recent All-White squad member, to see them in action in the OFC President's Cup here this evening.
Exactly, and you've got the most capped All-White out there. Yeah. Ivan Visilic, 88 caps, still going at the age of 38. I'm sure he's enjoying playing in midfield. He's had some bruising tussles with Osea Vakatalasau over the years. He won't get to see him as much this evening, perhaps. Here's Fred. Offside flag goes up. That's Terry Piri of the Cook Islands with his flag up on that side. Well, John Irving plays the ball out to Mario Beelin. Here's Payne. Tight ball to give Irving. He manages to scoop it out, but in turn Beelin's been caught out by Panagiotis, and it's a free kick to Amicale.
Nikas can deliver the quality balls into the box. He can finish them as well. Let's see what he delivers here.
Well, I think it's going to be nothing but quality. I haven't seen him hit a dead ball anywhere but on the target. He's got a wonderful repertoire of delivery. Osea Vakatalasau's the obvious target for Amicale. Grazia can win them too. That's a good ball in. Vakatalasau nods it over the bar. The marking was very, very tight. It was an awkward one for the Fijian. And you can see Ramon Trebulic at the end of his technical area just shouting some instructions. I think he won't be too displeased about the marking. Well, perhaps he's stolen a yard there on Tim Payne. Won by Sakama. Iwata. Played on by De Vries. Read well by Michel Grazia. Clipped into Vakatalasau. Irving tries to get in front of Vakatalasau. Concedes a free kick. Well, John Irving was linked with a move to the A-League with the Central Coast Mariners during the off-season. It's a move that didn't come to fruition, but there's no doubting Irving's pedigree. He was signed by Everton as a 12-year-old and was captain of the reserve team. Never made a first-team appearance, though, and ended up in Welsh football. Helped them qualify for the UEFA Europa League and is now with Auckland, as we see another Panagiotis free kick. Clipped in. Oh, and that's not a bad effort. Plenty of power. It was dipping. Regulation catch for Williams, but still, he's going to have to be very mindful of Panagiotis' ability from just about anywhere within a 35-metre range. That was some strike.
That was a brilliant strike. He, as you mentioned, Gordon, he doesn't put the ball anywhere but on the target, and that's what's going to be the difference here this evening. And Osea Vakatalasau, together with his the likes of Fenedi Musavau-Kalo, the two lanky men in the Amicale forward attack line, will be the obvious targets to try and finish those ones off.
Well, as we also discussed prior to the beginning of the match, Nikos Panagiotis has taken up that position just in behind Vakatalasau. It's Fenedi Musavau-Kalo who is sitting in as a defensive midfielder. Inside the 10th minute, Auckland City 0, Amicale 0. This match, if it finishes level after 90 minutes, will go to extra time and then penalties. Here's Dominic Fred in a position that he loves so much. Just to isolate himself against a player and get a good quality ball in and then really go at them. Belanga stood up to the test this time. Irving.
Dominic Fred has, will not forget Marko Dorovic, who's on the bench for Auckland City, who played for Amicale and delivered that cross, that winning goal that was scored by him at Churchill Park in Lautoka.
That's correct. There's another Amicale Auckland City subplot that is still ongoing. Sani Issa has signed for Auckland City but has yet to enter the country. It's just been the story of his career since he left Bar. And Auckland are also without Fabrizio Tavano. That's a decent attempt by Panagiotis, but Dominic Fred had started his run just slightly too early. Tavano's not available. Andrew Milne was injured in the game just prior to this against Bodentown.
Yao Moreira is still out with injury as well.
That's correct. Apparently he's going to Portugal to look at having the pin removed from his leg. He broke his leg in a pre-season friendly against Western Springs at Point Chevalier back in September. And David Brown, the Papua New Guinea youngster, was also recently injured just 10 days ago in a ASB Premiership match with Wanderers SC. So the striker stocks are a wee bit low for the Kiwis. Hence Darren White's inclusion in tonight's lineup in that position. Here's Sakama, nice touch. Tries to take on Iwata around the outside. Iwata's got pace, but Sakama has got guile as well. Cross is blocked. De Vries back to assist. Beeling clears his lines. Here's Tade. Lovely touch by Tade, but it was too fine, if you like. Uchino picked it up. Caltac. Ian Hogg made over 70 appearances for the Navy Blues. Picks out Fred. And Angel Belanga's going to have to be careful all night. That is a player with X factor, Dominic Fred.
Yeah, and Gracias at the back for Amicale will be the key man. He's marshaled this Amicale defense in a really brilliant way that we've seen him from the first game.
Oh, Belanga's been caught out by Fred. Here's Panagiotis. Also a Australian beach soccer international. He's played for a foul and won it. Grazia and Caltac range forward for Amicale.
Osea and Tamati Williams of the same height, the goalkeeper and the Amicale striker.
Yes, both at the near post. Just a nudge on the back from Darren White, and Panagiotis didn't need any further encouragement. We saw him bend all sorts of difficult crosses and free kicks in against the Buzai team goalkeeper Hisham Hiram, forcing him to punch. He's not the tallest of keepers. Tamati Williams, as Indra says, possesses height and strength. It goes to the far post, headed down. Uchino. Sakama played it safe, coming back from an offside position, so we'll restart with an Auckland City throw-in. Indra, Amicale pressing high against this Auckland team that like to play out from the back, making it very difficult for them.
Yeah, Amicale as well, when they played the first game against Fiji under-20s, then against Busai Teen, they seem to be going up a level each time they run onto the pitch, and that could be attributed that most of these players, imports, have arrived into Vanuatu late, just in time for the President's Cup, the OFC President's Cup, and finally those combinations are gelling together.
Here's Payne. Picked out Tade. It was an awkward height for the Argentine striker to pick up. Caltac clears it. Panagiotis. Daewoo Kim.
Was it Tade or Brian de Vries who was away in South Africa recently?
Emiliano Tade. He had a trial with Vasco da Gama. He may have a decision to make about his future with the club. As yet, it's not a subject that Tade or the club itself has been talking about too openly. Much to consider as Darren White has a shot. The timing of any such move would be vital in terms of Auckland's FIFA Club World Cup chances. I think it's realistic to say that Auckland don't have a chance of winning the FIFA Club World Cup, but certainly winning the playoff match has huge ramifications for football in this part of the world, not just for the club themselves, but for a host of others who depend on that success. And a chance for Tade, straight into the arms of Mansali, but he can only parry it. Now Daiwot Kim, Uchino's back there defending. Awkward moment for Amicale. Grazia manages to get it to Masavakalo, and Amicale look as though they've survived it. Dominic Fred switches to Sakama. He's done well. Now Vakatalis out. Tamari Williams comes off his line, takes it confidently.
Yeah, hats off to Chico Mansale. What a save he made there to keep that ball out. As we watch it on the replay, Gordon.
Yeah, look at this. Tade, it just bobbled. He had to get it on target and just hope for an awkward bounce.
And this is what they did to Busaitin. They just kept on pressing the player with possession, and they actually committed mistakes that gave the Amicale the favour, or the ball that they used to look for in that match. And they're doing the same with the Auckland City outfit here. Just pressing, as you mentioned, just pressing and trying to put them under pressure, to commit mistakes, to give away possession, to win those 50-50 balls. It's going to prove to be very crucial come the latter part of this match.
Yeah, it's an approach that comes with a cost. If you're going to press high against Auckland City for an extended period of time, it's a high energy tactic. Let's put it that way. So if you're going to try and squeeze Auckland and chase the ball across the back, it's taken quickly. The throw in for Tade. Masavakalo defending for his team. Pressing high and chasing down those Auckland City build-ups. It usually, typically in this part of the world, lasts for around 60 minutes, 70 minutes, and then teams get tired. But Auckland now on the attack. De Vries chests it down, Darren White, and it's cleared by Alphonse Bongnaim in the nick of time. It's a corner for Auckland. And Amicale are just starting to do what they did against Busaitin in the early stages of that game. They're giving the ball away in their own third.
Yeah, and the coach on the pitch there would not be a happy chap right now.
Some tall players in there for Auckland. Belanga, Visilic, Beelan, De Vries. Beats all of them, and chance for a counter-attack through Sakama. Tim Payne's won it. He's lost it again. Just took his eyes off the ball. Well, that's come up short, but Williams was on the edge of his box. His clearance isn't the most convincing. Belanga has to get across. Dominic Fred's round him. A diving tackle from John Irving, and Panagiotis was offside. Both teams a little bit nervous at different times in their own defensive third.
They do look nervous. Must be the final jitters here, but both experienced set of players, but already in defence in particular, giving away possession easily.
We're in the 19th minute. Auckland 0, Amicale 0 in the OFC President's Cup final.
Alphonse Bongnaim, I've been impressed. He's more like a silent hero for the Amicale side. He goes about doing his duties quietly and effectively. Doesn't get mentioned much, but he's been one of the key men as well.
Yes, he's an underrated presence in this Amicale side. He's a veteran of Vanuatu football, also a Vanuatu international, of course. But I think it speaks volumes for his abilities that given Amicale have adopted foreign signing policy, that he's been one of the local players who has been kept on. Tade, Visilic, Daewit Kim, Angel Belanga. Tade, that's a very good ball for Darren White. They need numbers in the box, but the cross was lacking in quality from Darren White.
Just finding those little gaps, both teams, when they go out in attack. But Gordon, Oceania football, if you look at it, two of the top guns of Oceania club football in front of us, it's improved so much in the past number of years. Now we see more of the football that we see worldwide slowly coming into, in particular with the Pacific teams. Yeah,
and we saw that with the Tahitian sides. That's a good ball in by De Vries. It's just out of reach of Tade. With AS Pure coming back after 8 years of absence from the OFC Champions League. They nearly won it, of course, in 2006. They got to the semi-finals in 2005 in the edition won by Sydney FC. AS Dragon, of course, were also one of the top performers the year before in 2012. Well, I tell you what, neither one of these sides is taking this like a pre-season friendly or a meaningless competition. It's been full-blooded so far.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk in the week when it looked like that Auckland City would qualify. Then after Friday, when we found out Auckland City were going to meet Amicale, everybody tagged it as the revenge match after that OFC Champions League final at Kiwitia Street, where Amicale, so unfortunate.
Yeah, that's right.
They still talk about that missed penalty.
Well, it was very hard on Colin Marshall, the player who took it. He's re-emerged in Scottish football, played against Rangers in the Scottish Cup in the middle of November, which is actually a pattern that's starting to emerge here. Players are coming from professional football into the Oceania Champions League, playing here, and then still returning to professional football clubs.
So as we have mentioned, that OFC Champions League and Oceania football definitely on the way up. Gone are the days where it used to be only dominated by players from this side of the region.
So a corner for Amicale. Panagiotis will take this. Former North Queensland Fury A-League player. And with the Central Coast Mariners. Hoisted into the far post. Sakama was looking to attack it. Beelan got underneath it. Uchino battling in there. Dominic Fred manages to splay it to Ian Hogg. And, sorry, Panagiotis, I apologise. Here's Hogg now. De Vries. Irving under pressure from Vakatalasau. Still working across that back line for Amicale. Now Mario Beelan. Tade robbed by some very, very good reading of the game by Bongenheim. Beelan. Iwata. Payne. Iwata, now Tade. Payne again. Well, Tim Payne's been all over Asia in the past week and a half with the All Whites. He got some match time against China and also saw some action in the 2-0 defeat against Thailand. A disappointing result for Anthony Hudson off the back of what was a very solid performance against the Chinese. Vakatalasau tried to play for a corner, and Iwata just managed to get out of the way of it.
Yeah, the other thing that I noticed was that the Roofer brothers, Winton with Papua New Guinea, Steve helping out Amicale now. Yeah,
that's right. Radio Live Sports spoke with Shane Roofer this morning, and he's in an advisory role. Said there's no formal contract, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's taking a look at Amicale. They're taking a look at him. With no disrespect intended toward incumbent coach Jean-Robert Yalou, who so far has got one of the most historic club results in Oceania football history under his belt.
Yeah, Osea has gone down with that knee that has always troubled him from the time that he's played in the Fijian football circles and also abroad. It's a left knee.
Yeah, it was heavily bandaged at the Champions League in April.
Yeah. It's been operated on in the past.
He's back on his feet.
They've already lost another Fijian in the captain, Esava Nangeleva.
Yes, injury. We understand that could be a long-term injury.
Yeah, it is a long-term injury. We spoke to him the other day and he said he'll be out for maybe a month and a half to two, fully recovered before he's back. And they've got Amani McCoy Another of the Fijian contingent on the bench, who was brought in this year. And of course, one of the Pacific favourites, Dalong Damali.
Yes, he's a good impact substitute to have up your sleeve. Here's Belanga. Darren White. Kim, that's a good interchange. White against Hogg, and Hogg recovers.
It's a bit of a movement on the Amicale bench. Looks like Osea might not be coming back on.
Yes, substitute has been sent to warm up. So, am I correct in saying that Amicale are down to 10 for the moment?
Yep. A lot of work being put in by the physio on the bench, the Amicale bench. We'll keep you posted on that one. There's Auckland City to deliver in this corner.
Tare takes it short to Darren White. Clipped over, but he doesn't get enough underneath it in his follow-through shot. There's a poor one. We could see what Auckland were trying to achieve. That just wasn't executed to any great standard.
It looks like he's getting all strapped up. He won't give up that easily, in particular playing in a final against his rival from the days of Man in Black, Bar from Fiji.
Well, just looking at the bench for Amicale, of course, Dalong Damali, as you mentioned earlier, would be a good option should Osea not make it back on, as looks likely. Here's Sakama, tormenting Taku Iwata. It's a good cross. It's headed back in by Dominic Fred, but it lands on the roof of the net. And without Vakatalis out there to invite to get on the end of it, he decided to have a go himself. Well, it looks like Osea's being taped up.
Yep.
From where we're sitting.
The other thing we've noticed with the Amicale side, Gordon, is Sakama and Dominic Fred. They do change sides as the game goes on. They swap sides on the left and the right.
Yeah, they did that to great effect last season. And Sakama, though, I wonder if Francois Sakama won't want to just stay on that side. He seems to just have the edge on Takuya Iwata at times. And Iwata is playing quite high himself. Here's Panagiotis. Brian Kaltak. Oh, and that was a good idea. It was executed beautifully. But Takuya Iwata desperately just managed to get a header on it. Here's Grazia's header. Panagiotis. Masavakalo. Ian Hogg on the overlap. Hogg now getting Darren White to do some defending. Panagiotis winds up to have a shot, and that was pretty poor from Nikos Panagiotis after what we've come to expect in the first two matches.
He likes that range, doesn't he? Just from outside the box.
That's no problem for him. We've seen that.
Yeah.
That right foot volley that he struck against Buzaitine from 22 metres out was simply superb. The technique, the power, the skill and the precision. And Amicale might need something special from him tonight if they're going to knock over Auckland City in a final. Something they've never before achieved. Here's Tade. Kaltak snapping away at his heels. Doesn't let the Argentine have a moment of respite on that football.
Tight contest that we anticipated before kickoff.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Indra, I'm totally enthralled. Well played between Kim and White. And that's a good ball by Darren White, but Kim just doesn't have the pace to match Ian Hogg. Good cross, Tim Payne. It's not the best touch he's had, and a free kick to Amicale.
Gordon, just talking about these teams and looking at Singapore under 23 earlier on, played well against Musaitin before going down 3-0 in the third and fourth place playoffs. The Fiji under 20s to some extent Bowden Town. Just looking at Amicale and looking at the impact the foreign legion have had on them, they're starting to play like the teams of Auckland City, Waitakere in the past that we've seen. The running off the ball, the players going into those gaps, looking to offset their marker to get that final ball in and to get it at a time where they can finish it off. So, liking the way that Amicale has adapting to a professional level of football.
Yeah. Well, look, you're looking at two teams that each blended with local players and foreign imports, and I think the standard of football is all the better for it, and that is the nature of club football in general. Now that flag has stayed down, and for me, Darren White was in an offside position, I think. It's difficult to tell from where we are, and the camera positions don't lend themselves kindly to replays for offsides, and it's all on first impressions, just like the match officials. Here's Payne. Beelan. The floodlights have come on at the Trust Arena. We're in the 31st minute of the OFC President's Cup Final 2014, and it's Auckland City 0, Amicale 0. White wins the header.
Both the teams to be in action in Fiji next year in the OFC Champions League, having qualified from their respective countries, New Zealand and Vanuatu.
That's right. Tafe, of course, will be there as well. They've got a haul of domestic trophies. That underline.
Team Wellington from New Zealand.
Yeah, Team Wellington for the very first time.
Hosea going in a bit hard there. Iwata.
Well, Ravitesh Bihari tells his compatriot Osea Vakatalasau to just rein it in. And Takuya Wata is going to need some treatment.
I do believe, I stand to be corrected, but when Rufa was with Vanuatu, Young Heart Vanuatu, when Osea and his brother Penny Finau came across and spent a season there.
That's correct. Look, I can tell you where that all began too. In the post-match press environment after the Bar versus Waitakere United match at Mount Smart Stadium that was won by Waitakere. I was sent to the dressing room to get Osea Vakatalasau, and Mr. Rufa came up to me and tapped me on the shoulder and asked who he was and whether or not he could talk with him, and I said, well, that's not really anything to do with me, but no surprise. Oh, well, there's the late. Yeah. That's a yellow card for me. But to return to the point, Shane Rufa was very interested in both Penny Finau and Osea Vakatalasau, and they both did end up for a season at Young Heart Manawatu.
Yeah, a lot was expected from there, didn't eventuate. Both went back, played for Bar, played for Lautoka in the domestic competition back in Fiji.
Belanga. Irving. Visilic. Plays a good ball to Darren White. Kim. This is good from Auckland City. Dominic Fred's chasing him down. There's a cross. And it's away by Michel Grazia. Tade was just lurking off his right shoulder. Pressure still on Amicale. Irving. Thought about trying to play Iwata in. Changed his mind. White for Kim. Kim looks to line up a shot. And it's taken a deflection either off Grazia or Brian Kaltak. And Sakama, that's a poor clearance. Cross into the box. Amicale under bombardment. Tim Payne. Tade, Payne. Well, it's not Tim Payne's evening so far. And Achino's bundled over by Ivan Visilic, who pleads his case with Ravitesh Bihari. Falls on deaf ears, of course. I've yet to see a player complaint that has reversed a refereeing decision. Achino. Visilic. Clever header. Kim sets up Payne. Now Iwata on the overlap. Prodded through for De Vries. Iwata still going. There's a cross. Well cut out. Brilliantly cut out by Brian Kaltak. De Vries, Iwata, De Vries again. And well played, Brian Kaltak. He's having a good game so far this evening, Indra.
Yeah, he has picked him out that he has really stood out in the Amicale defense in this tournament.
Well, Tade with a clever round the corner flick. He's past Bongnine for a second time. Michel Grazia forced to step in and take control of matters. Visilic. Payne. Grazia's clearance. Beelan holds off Fakatalasau to play Visilic. White. Kim. Beelan. Good pace to this game. Well, Payne's lost out again. It's still struggling in the middle of midfield. Now, Osea Fakatalasau against Mario Beelan. Sakama to his left. Panagiotis to his left. Dominic Fred drifting up on the right. And Sakama takes his fall entirely under his own steam, and Tamati Williams' clearance is helped on by De Vries. Masavakalo.
Sorry, Gotti. Looking at Brian Kaltak reminds me very much of Nelson Saleh Khalifa for Solomon was playing as the central defender.
Yes, big shoes to fill.
Yeah, for the Solomon Islands, Nelson Saleh.
Currently playing in the S League, I believe. Wonder if he'll be back for Amicale. There is some talk that the Amicale side that fronts up at the Champions League may be vastly different to this one.
Be interesting.
Although the other talk that I've also heard is that the recruitment process has only just started. So the Amicale side that you see here, that beat Buzaiting and has got the wood over Auckland, at least in 3 of the last 4 games, could yet add more to their ranks as they seek the Oceania title for the first time. Here's Panagiotis. Stays on possession. He's going through that Auckland team. He almost made it through.
You can tell that he's a beach soccer international, that close, deft footwork that he's using in close quarters to beat defenders.
Here's De Vries with some close control of his own. Visilic. Malanga. Well, this match just simmering along nicely. Both teams have had good spells of possession. De Vries, he's got Tade to his right, and he fires it in at the near post. He gets a bit of a glare from Emiliano Tade, but that's a very, very competent save by Chika Mansale, Mr. Dependable for Amicale.
Doesn't look intimidated at all coming up against Tade. Ryan De Vries, Darren White.
Panagiotis, Adrian Achino, Ian Hogg, Dominic Fred. Belanga. Beelan. Iwata. Visilic. Got clipped by Osea, but play continues. White. Tade. Cut out by Hogg. Away by Kaltak. White's almost stumbled into the clearance. We're in the 40th minute. Auckland City 0, Amicale 0 in the OFC President's Cup final. Fred. Uchino. Well, you could see what he was trying to achieve. Sakama just making a run from that channel between Beelan and Iwata. Belanga. Kim. Well, Auckland just starting to enjoy a stranglehold on this football at present. Amicale are restricted to these counter-attacks. Now Grazia is rampaging forward. Toe pokes the ball through for Sakama. Oh, I say, what a goal! Francois Sakama, who nodded home the equaliser against Buzaitin, has put Amicale in front with a stunning finish.
You got to put it down to the run there by Gracias. He just ran right from his half with that ball in possession. Freed up Sakama, but what a finish. Who says players in Pacific football, Oceania football can't score world-class goals? Look at this.
This was a fantastic strike, high up into the roof of the net. Tamati Williams didn't have a chance, and Amicale have taken the lead.
Just like they did at Churchill Park.
Just like they did at Churchill Park in Lautoka back in April, and they hung on. It was a body blow that nearly put Auckland out of the competition.
Yeah, and Gracias has gone down after that tremendous run from the back to set up that goal for Sakama. Still in the Auckland City half. But just heading into half-time with about 4 minutes to go plus added time. This is just the tonic that Amicale needed. How the team talks will change now at half-time.
Well, Amicale have got a habit of taking the lead in these games. They've won 2 against Auckland by a 1-0 in Port Vila. The 1-1 draw with Auckland City and Port Vila most recently. They took the lead in that one too. They've taken the lead here. This is the 8th time the two teams have met. Auckland have won 4 games. Amicale 2, and there's been a draw. And it's Amicale who are in the ascendancy in terms of the scorecard, but they were under pressure for long periods of this first half.
And as you mentioned, just when it seemed like Auckland City was starting to dominate in terms of keeping ball possession. The other thing I'm just sitting here and noticing is the way Nikas is playing. He's talking to his players around him in the Amicale setup. Reminds me very much of Colin Marshall and what he did with the Amicale side last year.
Yes, quite right. It seems that that type of input, the foreign touch, if you like, has just added some cosmopolitan flair and experience to what is already a very highly skilled and adept collection of players from Vanuatu and Fiji. And of course, as Indra mentioned, Nelson Saleh Khalifa, who's not here, from the Solomon Islands. Tade. Belanga on the overlap. Dominic Fred working hard to track the right fullback. Now White. Looking for Tade. Well, they've tried to play out there, and Belanga's come from an offside position. Is that what that calls for?
Not happy.
Well, the Auckland players aren't going to make any difference by complaining vociferously with the referee. Osea winning the header. Free kick against Dominic Fred. Well, if Amicale were to win this game as well, what a psychological lift it would be for them to be able to come to New Zealand and actually leave with not only the trophy but a rare victory. De Vries. Oh, and he's taken down. That surely has to be an Auckland free kick. That was quite a...
Yeah, Osea will get a card here for handling that ball. But it'll be interesting to see the replay with what happened there, as Osea tries to explain. He's copped a card.
Because if that's in the penalty area, that's got to be... Oof. Well, De Vries got the ball first, and Grazia went through the back of him. A highly contentious and controversial moment.
It's not the last we've heard of it, I bet.
I bet.
Just warming up for the second half, what we expect here.
Well, this final is proving to be everything and more.
2 minutes minimum of added time.
Irving. And Saleh with an eccentric piece of goalkeeping. He's survived any repercussions. Vakatalasau. Auckland shaken by this goal they've conceded. Amicale, as they did against Buzaitin, just growing in confidence. And they've got a real match winner in Nikos Panagiotis. Plays it wide to Vakatalasau. Fenedi Masavakalo's in the box. No quality in the cross from Osea.
Look at how tight the defence is at the back.
Yeah, they want to see this out. They want to go in at half-time with this one-goal lead intact.
The Auckland City faithful have gone quiet after that goal.
Well, the Trust Arena hasn't been an entirely happy hunting ground for them. They lost an ASP Premiership Grand Final here to Waitakere United when this used to be Waitakere's home stadium. That's a very good ball. Referee checks his watch. Well, I'd like to see a replay of that.
From maybe a different angle if possible.
Yeah, that Grazia tackle on Ryan de Vries. It was partially obscured. It was actually difficult to tell whether or not it was de Vries who was the last player to touch that ball when Grazia made the tackle, but that is half-time. And what a scoreline.
The referee about that, I think they're still going on.
Well, Ravitesh Bahari is just saying, on your way. And what a scoreline. Amicale 1, Auckland City 0 at halftime in the OFC President's Cup final. Courtesy of Francois Sakama. Have Auckland got a reply? Can Amicale add to this? So much intrigue. Let's take a look now at the highlights of an entertaining first half. 7 minutes in. First Panagiotis free kick was wound in. You can see there, Vakatalasau just stole a yard.
Yeah, he just managed to beat his marker. Iwata couldn't hit the target.
A minute later, another free kick for Amicale. Too close to Tamati Williams that time. Quarter of an hour in, and this mistake allowed Emiliano Tade through. The ball bobbled, touches were awkward. He managed to get the shot on target, and Chico Mansale beat it away. And Darren White got into this very good position, but the cross, as you can see plainly, was substandard. 26 minutes from this corner. Tade played it short. That was meant to be scooped, I believe, and Darren White tried to make amends with the left foot drive, but again, not on target. And Sakama tormenting Takuya Wata. Gets us into the far post. Dominic Fred headed it onto the roof of the net. At that particular moment, Vakatalasau was off injured. And then in 33 minutes, White finally got to the byline, and no takers as Grazia cleared from the 6-yard box. 7 minutes to go. And De Vries went with the outside of the right. He might have done better with a cross. And then this moment where Auckland just got caught with a Wata forward and Sakama lashing it beyond Tamati Williams. Grazia just measured the pass. Sakama was onside when it was played, and the finish was deadly. Amicale 1, Auckland City 0. And look at that.
The right foot bullet, we could call it.
Yeah, a bullet to go with a bullet header that he scored against Buzaitin. And Vakatalasau was played in by Panagiotis. You can see there are red shirts, numbers in the box. They went to the far post, but lacking in quality. So there it is, the OFC President's Cup made by Thomas Light in London, worth 20,000 New Zealand dollars. And to the victor go the spoils this evening. And Amicale must sense that they are close. But still, 45 minutes to go at the Trust Arena. Rejoin us in a few moments. We'll bring you all the action from the second half.
We just want to come out today and interact with the kids. We're really excited to be here, share our knowledge about the game.
I got all their autographs and I thought it was so awesome because we all get to play with them and meet them.
It's a great opportunity to come over to Auckland. For starters, I've never been here, and just to get involved with all the kids and help show them a few skills and encourage them on what to eat and how to stay healthy. I think it's great for the kids growing up.
Drink loads of water and healthy food. Skills of the soccer ball and how they dribble and that. See a real live football team.
The boys put on some good skills, and even some of the girls had some good touches on them.
We can't wait to play our first game against Fiji, and we hope this time, we came really close in the O-League, but this time, but there's a few teams from abroad, so competition is going to be much harder, but we're hoping to win this time.
So will we see you at the President's Cup next week?
Yes.
What about all your classmates?
It's a pleasure to be here amongst the children. It's a really big thing for me because it's the first time that I've seen kids being a fan of us. So it's a great opportunity.
Super awesome, man. Super awesome. Their skills, they're really good. I never saw them on TV, but they're really, really good.
The kids were amazing. Many of them, especially the small ones, they took photos with us, and it's a blessed moment to be here.
Their skills, unbelievable. Number one supporter.
Yeah.
Yeah, very excited. We're looking forward to winning this tournament, and I know we can do it.
Welcome back to the Trust Arena. This match poised delicately with Amicale 1 goal up, courtesy of Francois Sakama. Indra, how do you see the second half?
Yeah, definitely. The halftime team talk from Ramon and also from the Amicale team would have been two different ones. Auckland City playing the game on the counter. A brilliant goal by Francois Sakama. They'll have to maintain it. They'll have to hold off this Auckland City, but they'll definitely come out firing in the second half. Not wanting to be undone here in Auckland.
There is the trophy that we're playing for. 45 minutes to run. The host club trail by a goal to nil, and just looking back over the previous 7 times these two teams have met, Amicale have only failed to score against Auckland once before. Other than that, they've had no trouble finding the back of the net over the course of 7 games. And in fact, when you look at it in those statistics, Auckland City have failed to score against Amicale twice. So it just shows you how the pendulum has swung towards Amicale. Here's Visilic. Iwata. Beelan. Payne. Irving. Well, ball speed has picked up by the look of it. And
There's a handball by Osea Vakatalisawa, missed by the match officials. Would have been in trouble, already picked up a yellow for the similar incident in the first half.
well, that would have been a second yellow and therefore a red. Well, just at half-time we were talking with our production team who had a look at that shout for a penalty, and for the large part it seems that Auckland might have missed out on one there. Well, Auckland City have scored 12 goals in 7 games against Amicale, but 9 of those came in the first 3 meetings between the 2nd of April 2011 and the 18th of January 2012. They've scored just 3 times in the last 5. Here's Sakama. Masavakalo. Now Tim Payne can break. Ryan De Vries has opened up a gap for him. That's a good ball by Payne. De Vries. Tade breaking to the far post. Grazia against De Vries. Picks out Tade. And he can't work himself onto his right foot. That's good play from Adrian Achino.
Yeah, Auckland City have come out firing. You can see in the second half, early stages, going into the 3rd minute. They know as long as the game goes on with that 1-0 scoreline, the more comfortable and more confident Amicale would be to lift this inaugural OFC President's Cup trophy.
Visilic. Beelan. Payne. Well, Amicale just happy to drop back. They've got 2 banks of 4, offering some protection to their goalkeeper. Bongnine. Uchino. Visilic denying Panagiotis space. Beelan trying to get in front of Vakatalasau. It's a war of attrition. And a free kick for Amicale.
Nickname Ozzy. He's known by that name. Poor free kick.
Yeah, not his best work from the Australian. That's given away by Beelan to Achino. May as well have a go from that sort of position. Kim. Easy one for Brian Kaltak to win. That's meat and drink to him.
Yeah, I think we also spoke at halftime, Gordy, is if this is the team that Amicale are playing and they're yet to bring in a few more, and Nelson Saleh Khalifa included, where do you fit them?
Well, exactly, where do you fit them? You've suddenly got a squad brimming with top talent. Don't forget, Nelson Saleh's also the skipper of his country. And Brian Kaltak's just grown in stature for me over the course of the first half. And that's a good ball by Irving. And a chance for De Vries. Good save by Chika Mansale. Auckland with the best chance of the match so far for them. And it came from that wonderful pass by John Irving. Play continues. Achino. Now that's a good ball as well. Iwata has to stretch to lift it out of the path of Francois Sakama. So both teams trading blows.
Yeah, also just looking at Chika Mansale, he knows if he's not confident to collect the ball, he'll palm it away. And I've seen that from the Champions League days earlier this season. He doesn't take the risk like some of the goalkeepers do usually in our region. A great save there by him to keep his Amicale team in the lead.
I think it comes with the experience of playing on Port Vila Stadium. It's not the flattest surface, and therefore one of the most unfriendliest for a goalkeeper that you'll come across. Here's Masavakalo. Panagiotis might try and work himself into a shooting position. We know how deadly he is from that range. Uchino, now Ian Hogg. Amicale buzzing around the Auckland penalty area. Osea leaves it and the offside flag goes up. Mario Beelan.
A lot of teams now adopting to a one-striker system in Oceania as well that I've noticed, Gotti.
Yeah, that's very true. You do see varieties of 4-4-2, of course. 4-4-1-1 being a common deployment as well. Gone are the days where it was just 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 strikers. Kaltak, this might go for a corner. It has.
The big boys make their way into the Amicale penalty box. More or less the on height for height, Amicale defenders do match these Auckland City attackers that are making their way into the box. Apart from maybe Dominic Fred and Francois Sakama.
Here's the corner. Well palmed away by Mansale. Panagiotis miscues his clearance. Iwata still has it, but he's going to need some support. And that's well played by Francois Sakama. Panagiotis. Osea's header, inviting Masavakalo to give chase. Irving sweeps up for Auckland City. Beelan. Tade tried to pick the pocket of Grazia, but the ball went out.
Bit of a late call there.
Well, it's a late call that always frustrates any footballer, but I think we could see from that camera angle that it was definitely out. Wata with the header, away by Masavakalo.
Yeah, I've been watching Gracias for the past few minutes, Gordon. He's been stretching that hamstring, trying to get rid of a little bit of discomfort that he's facing.
Masavakalo, Chino, Caltac. Belanga wins it. Irving plays Daewoo Kim. That's a good ball by Kim. Grazia's read it. Throw for Auckland City. 10 minutes into the second half. Auckland City 0, Amicale 1 in the OFC President's Cup Final 2014. Tade. Can't get the better of Caltac. Toe poked forward by Beelan. Here's Daewoo Kim. Checks onto his right foot and the shots! Just wide. Worth an effort.
Daewoo Kim did look up. Tried to test Shikau Mansali's goal.
Tisilachan, Vakatalasau both miss it. Beelan's had a swing at it. Well played by Takuya Iwata. Well, you could see what Tade was trying to do. He's just trying to get a flick on for Ryan de Vries. He's got too much of his toe underneath it. De Vries for Payne. Darren White. Angel Belanga on the overlap. And tight ball to give Tim Payne. Now it's Beelan against Vakatalasau. Vakatalasau thinking that the free kick should go his way, but isn't that always the case in footballers?
They're always right when they run onto that pitch, regardless of what the referee thinks.
Well, that was a curious piece of goalkeeping that's helped Auckland City's cause from Mansale. Oh, that's lovely from Tade. Good cross. Away by Masavakalo. Fred. Beelan. Irving. Beelan. Visilic. Belanga. Space opening up in front of Belanga. Just fires it straight into Masavakalo. It's cheaply given away. Panagiotis has sparked an attack through Francois Sakama. Osea Vakatalasau's in there. Sakama just losing his footing at the crucial moment. Taking on Iwata. Gets the ball in, but he can't reach a red shirt.
The way Amicale have set up to defend every time Auckland City has the ball, while Auckland City are renowned to have to start play from the back, Gordon, it's just they're finding it difficult to get those open spaces to play the crucial balls in.
Yeah, we saw this with Singapore and Buzaiteen earlier. Singapore were just quite happy to have 10 players behind the ball, and as you can see here, I'll say Vakatalasau's on halfway, and he's not going out to press. They've just compacted that Amicale defence. Tade. Beelan. Kim. Darren White. Payne. Good spell of possession for Auckland. Switch of play from Darren White to Iwata. Visilic. Tade. Clipped in for Tim Payne. It just came off his back. Well, Auckland City have been in one cup final already this season. Charity Cup final against Team Wellington. They drew that 2-2 before losing the game on penalties. That's a good ball from Tade. Very good ball. De Vries. And cut out by Ian Hogg. It's a corner for Auckland. So just over an hour gone. Auckland City 0, Amicale 1 in the OFC President's Cup final.
Amicale push everybody back into the box. They've got 11 players in that 18-yard box defending this corner.
And over the corner comes Belanga. Saved easily by Chika Mansale. Just under half an hour to go, Indra. What are your thoughts on this match?
I think Amicale are starting to tighten up the defense, but again, once the team starts to go defensive, Amicale needs to keep on playing their game. Once the team starts to go defensive, they're bound to create or make an error, which could work in Auckland City's favour. But on the other hand, with a fast, on a pacey striker like Osea Vakatalesau, they could hit Auckland City on a counter with Auckland City up looking for the equaliser.
Bongnaim. Panagiotis. Bongnaim again. Oh, it's a heavy pass. Chance for Auckland on the transition. Kim. Turns well. Beelan. Now Tade. Payne. Tade. Nice turn. Tim Payne has pushed into a more forward position for Auckland. Beelan has too. But he was a bit too casual with the cross. Gets a second go at it. Headed away by Keltak. Iwata. Oh, and Visilic's pass has been intercepted. It's back with Auckland City. David Kim trying to get the ball out from under his feet. They go back to Tamari Williams. Beelan. Tade's turned into a problem here, but he's managed to come out with it. Payne for De Vries. Tade, and a chance. Oh, and that is a quality goal from a top quality footballer. Auckland City are level in the President's Cup final, and it's game on.
Just what we spoke about, Gordon, if you watch the replay in a few seconds, what Auckland City was doing was pressing and Amicale trying to defend. Now they're talking amongst each other as to what went wrong. As we watch the replay again, quick 1-2.
Well, he got the better of Grazia and the better of Chika Mansale, and they are level.
Sakama had a right foot pile driver. Here, Tade with the left.
Some strike by Emiliano Tade. Well, they pushed Tim Payne further forward, and it's paid a dividend. And that gives Emiliano Tade the OFC President's Cup Golden Boots as things stand. That's his fourth goal of the tournament. Ajaj has 3. Eliel de Cruz has 3, both of Buzaitin. Of course, the man on the ball now, Panagiotis, has two. He could, of course, do his side a favour and bag a couple of for himself. I'm sure he's just concentrating on the next goal, not anything related to personal glory. Free kick. Wound into the box. It's a good one. Away by John Irving. Now Auckland can break on the counter-attack through Tim Payne. Tade striding up here on the left. Payne still going against Hogg. And it's a free kick, and Hogg and Payne are clashing.
Current all-white and a former all-white. Yep, cops a yellow card.
Yellow card for Ian Hogg.
And a free kick in a dangerous position. I feel slowly but surely that Auckland City is starting to take control of this match.
Yeah, you can see here Tim Payne faked across. Hogg knew that he was beaten. He was going to ground and he just made sure that Payne came with him. So now Amicale have some thinking to do.
Again, they've pushed everybody back into that box to defend this free kick. Tade will deliver, I believe.
That short corner option, short free kick option's cut off because Darren White's marked. Beelan, good header by Brian Kaltak yet again. Away by Grazia. Hoisted to the right by Iwata, headed away by Dominic Fred. Now, Osea Vakatalasau goes to ground. I think he was trying to appeal to referee Bahari's more generous side there.
He's just lashed out at a reserve chair on the Auckland City reserve area.
Well, there's only one winner when it's Vakatalasau versus Chair. De Vries against Bongnheim. He's got a couple of yards on him. There's a cross, and it's headed away by Kaltak again. He's having a fantastic game for Amicale.
And this is what's going to happen. You see, everybody pushes back for Amicale. And when the long ball is played, it takes them time to get to the ball, with Auckland City already having three of the defenders covering.
Vakatalasau. Dominic Fred made a run. Good touch from Payne. Daewoo Kim. Now Tade, it's end-to-end stuff here. A real cup final for you. Sakama was onside, and it's a very, very good ball. There's a shot, and this time Tamati Williams gratefully accepts Sakama's effort into his arms. Belanga. Well, that's a mistake by Takuya Iwata. You can't afford to have too many moments like that in a cup final. De Vries picks up Iwata's interception. Tade, the first time pass, beaten away by Grazia. Hogg, Ichino. This is good from Amicale. Well, that could have been a shout for a free kick.
If that ball would have gone to Tade, that would have been danger for Amicale there. They had about 3-on-1.
Masavakalo. Bongnheim. It's not a great cross. Asaya Vakatalasau slips, puts his hand on the ball, and there's a free kick.
Gordon, what we've known of Osea Vakatalasau, the more deprived he gets of possession and becomes lonesome as the lone guy up front, he starts to get frustrated, and that frustration starts to boil over, and that's what Amicale will have to be wary of. Do they need him to be up front, or do they need fresh pairs of legs to support the Amicale midfielders who will be playing those balls in? But at the moment, Osea is the only one doing the chasing up front, and at times you can see when he's losing possession, he's not looking very happy.
No, and he's also carrying what we suspect is an injury too, which can't help his peace of mind anymore. Tade will take a corner for Auckland City. This game locked at 1-1. Taken short. Clipped in. Cleared. Irving. Visilic stays forward. Chipped in for Belanga.
This time he draws a free kick, Osea Vakatalasau. And Nikas, I would think this is his range. He'll try from here. We've seen him, as we've mentioned, Gordy. Osea trying to break through.
Yeah.
Haven't seen so much of Dominic Fred in the second half.
No, and he is this fixture's talisman, really. Scorer of some very, very important goals for Amicale. Well, Panagiotis is looking to hit this. Are we in for a treat from this competition's star player, in my opinion? Here he goes. Panagiotis dips just in front of Tamari Williams. Type of free kick that's awkward for a goalkeeper. Bounces just in front of him, but '72nd minute, 1-1 here at the Truss Arena between Auckland City and Amicale in the OFC President's Cup final.
Yeah, frustration on the Amicale players with the call coming for offside. Who's going to be the hero here tonight? It'll be interesting. Who can step up, get the winner, or will we see it go right down to the penalty shootout? It'll be very interesting.
Well, for me, Indra, there's a player on each team, a game breaker. One's Emiliano Tade. The other is Nikas Panagiotis, I think. It was Tade's goal that gave Auckland their 6th Oceania club title. And it's De Vries. There's the cross to the top of the box. It's off Masavakalo's head and well claimed by the goalkeeper, Chico Mansale. Cheaply given away by Sakama. Beelan. Grazia wins it off Payne. Stays forward. Sakama now overlapping on the right. Auckland with 3 up front at the moment. De Vries is funneling back in to defend against Ian Hogg. There's a cross, and Grazia unable to out-jump Tamari Williams.
So what Tim Payne was telling Tamari Williams to release it quickly because Grazia was up front. Finally gets it.
And he was offside.
Yeah. But at that moment in time when Grazia was on front and Tamari got the ball, he quickly wanted the release. Didn't get it. When he eventually got it, he was in offside position.
Good move from Beelan. Tade. Scoop pass for Tim Payne. Ian Hogg has to come back and provide some cover for the centre halves. Very strong on the ball, as you can see. Distribution wasn't the equal of his earlier manoeuvre. Auckland have it again. More defending for Amicale to do. Kim. Tim Payne. Cuts it back while he was looking for Daewoo Kim. Kim, I think, was expecting Payne to go all the way to the byline before whipping back across.
Too hard. The other thing, just watching Ivan Viselitz, a lot of people in Oceania would know him as a defender, but as you mentioned, those who watch him here in New Zealand week in, week out, he's played well in midfield.
Yeah, well, that's where he played for the All Whites at the 2010 FIFA World Cup. And don't forget, he had already had 2 seasons in the ASB Premiership, so to go from the ASB Premiership playing as a defender to the holding role in midfield against players from Serie A on the biggest stage that there is, and he did it with plenty of ability, as we well know. His transition, therefore, into the same position for Auckland City here at the President's Cup. It's perhaps not so surprising. What is impressive, though, is that Ivan Viselitz continues to churn out these top quality performances at the age of 38. He's looked after his body very well. Consummate professional, yet been playing in what ostensibly is an amateur competition for the best part of 5 years since returning from European football in Holland. "14 minutes left. Auckland City 1, Amicale 1. There's been some rejigging of this Auckland City backline. You can see John Irving and Angel Belanga have taken up the roles as centre half. Iwata's still playing left back. Tade. Bit too casual with that pass, Emiliano Tade. Sakama. Finds his target man. That's a good chest down for Panagiotis. Shapes to shoot. Digs one out, but that's not going to trouble the keeper.
For a moment I thought we'll see the repeat of that night against Musaitin, with Osea just chested that ball down and Nikash finished it well.
Yeah, that was a great team goal. That we talk about the finish, but there's a cross from Iwata. Mansale's missed it. Tade can't get it off Grazia. Yes, we talk about the finish, but of course Sakama and Vakatalasau had a big part to play in that goal. It was Sakama's pass and Osea's chest down, as you described. Taken quickly. Hogg defends it. De Vries picks it up. Tim Payne, that's a good ball. Chance! And Tade, it's De Vries! Auckland are in front for the first time in this match in the 78th minute, and it's the 2 players who scored for Auckland City in the OFC Champions League final who have scored tonight.
Yeah,
a well-worked goal in the tight.
Yeah, again, the defensive, you look at the defensive frailties of Amicale. What the way they played in the first half, it's not happening. As we watch the replay, got it a quick 1-2 there between the 2 players, and it just linked it over the keeper, and Chika Mansale, no chance. The covering player for Amicale as well, nothing, just tipped into the net. The Auckland City fans look happy, and so does Ryan De Vries. Instructions from Ramon off the bench.
So, Amicale now have to dig deep and see if they can come back.
Well, what a ball over the top, just a chip over the top by Tim Payne.
Yes, Tim Payne's had a much better game since he was redeployed in that area of the pitch. Amicale bursting forward in search of an equaliser. You were quite right, Indra. They decided to just sit back and absorb pressure, and it's backfired against them.
More than often, we do see that in Pacific football, and we're not going to call it Oceania because New Zealand comes with it, but in Pacific football, once a team gets a goal, it's all like you protect it 1-0 or 2-0 lead, and you go all defensive, and that does does not bring about dividends. It does bring about what you do not want, and that is 2 goals that Auckland City have banked in here in the second half.
Quite right.
Attack is the best form of defense, rather than defense is the best form of winning a game.
Well, Amicale are far from out of this. They've got a corner. Panagiotis takes it short. Uchino. Ball clipped in, but it thunders against Darren White. And it's given straight to White. If he plays it, Auckland could have been through. He's past Bongnaim, and now Auckland have the numbers. And the flag's gone up. Tade offside.
Looked like a tight call, but again on the angles you can't say much. But again, it is very interesting. 10 minutes or so to go in this final of the OFC President's Cup. Can Amicale bounce back, or can Auckland City get another and lift the OFC President's Cup here this evening? Amicale haven't played the game they played in the first half in the second half, Gordon.
No, it's been completely different from them. You just wonder if fatigue is playing a part. You can see there from that tied ball from Bongnaim. Tade and Payne starting to combine nicely. Is there another goal in the offing for Auckland? Very shortly, Amicale are going to have to come off the edge of their box. It's a cup final. They can't sit in and just defend like they were for the best part of 20 minutes. Grazia earns a free kick. They're going to have to get the ball forward, and they're going to have to pull forward in numbers. And a yellow card's coming for Tim Payne.
2 fouls in consecutive times that he has gone in, Tim Payne.
Well, neither side has made a substitution as well. These two sides have just traded blows relentlessly. You can see here that Grazia's got a handful of Tim Payne's shirt.
Yeah.
That's a yellow card. But he's the man in the middle, and he's given it the other way. Well won by Iwata. And Iwata's through. Tim Payne, nice touch. Ryan de Vries can seal it for Auckland. Wide of the target.
Looking at the bigger picture itself, Ramon would be really happy with the way the players are slowly, that combinations coming in ahead of the World Club, FIFA World Club.
Yeah, well, if you look at the statistics as we reflect on this effort from de Vries, they've won 4 of their ASB Premiership matches. They're top of the division with 12 points. Assuming this scoreline remains the same, they'll have won 3 games in the President's Cup. 2 of them perhaps not as challenging as Ramon Trebulic might have hoped. And the only defeat really was that cup final with Team Wellington, but even that was on penalties. So 7 wins and a draw. And Uzbekistan to come on December the 4th. And December the 10th, Moroccan champions Maghreb Tetouan in Rabat, Morocco. The $1 million match, you might say. That's a good ball. Sakama. Still going. Sakama, if he can cut this back, there's a problem. Good save from Tamati Williams. Amicale have a corner.
Tamati Williams had to be alert. Just took out his left arm and just palmed it out. But again, Francis Sakama, after a while, we've seen him in action in a good cut around the defence and to deliver that to the near post of Tamati Williams.
Well, he's already been beaten at that post by Francois Sakama, so he's not taking any further risks. Panagiotis is taking this corner. Uchino's battling away there in front of Tamati Williams, and it's away by Auckland. Oh, and there's a clash of heads here. Daewoo Kim. And there's going to be an immediate call.
And he's calling Osea to the side. Osea has already been carded.
Looks like John Irving and Daewoo Kim have had a clash of heads. There's another look at it. Oh, it was Osea Vakatalasau who came in and connected with John Irving.
Believe me, John Irving would be thinking, what has hit him?
Or will he be thinking? That's the question. They've got to be very, very careful with head injuries these days.
Yeah.
Concussion can be a problem.
I believe he's in good hands there.
Yes, the physiotherapist is Matt Payne, who runs his own business, Viaduct Physiotherapy. Here's another look at this. Well, Isaiah Vakatalasau just thundered straight into the back of John Irving, but Daewit Kim was down also. He's recovered. Just under 5 minutes left of normal time. Auckland City 2, Amicale 1. Hogg for Mansale, straight to Payne. Pressure starting to tell. Hogg's conceded a free kick in a very good position for Auckland.
They've had a battle tonight.
Well, I tell you, this game has meant a lot to Ian Hogg playing against his old club.
And they finally a movement on the bench for Amicale.
It's a double substitution coming up. So a real last throw of the dice for Amicale.
Looks like Dalong Doublelip is one of them who will be coming on.
Well, you'd have to say a third goal here for Auckland would kill this game. Given we've got hardly any time remaining, a 2-goal cushion should be enough. Here's the free kick. Ivan Visilic back in. Oh, and that's a good save from Chika Mansale.
How did he keep that out is the question, Gordon. It looked for a shoe of money that he was going in.
Mario Beelan takes out Adrian Achino. And Belanga's been booked. Here's another look at that corner. Visilic, the marking was too loose. Angel Belanga, well, that's a good save. He didn't get a very hard connection on it, but it was still an awkward one for Mansale.
So the first of the changes for Amicale is about to be shown from the fourth official.
Sakama's being replaced by Dalong Doublelip. And the other replacement, Manuel Briganti, I think is about to be introduced. In fact, we know so. But it's just a question of who he's going to replace. It may be that Michel Grazia comes out, although they can ill afford to lose him. He's had a great tournament for Amicale.
Yeah, it looks like him.
So Damilep is on. Masavakalo's pushed forward.
Tade is going off as well. You see there on the screen.
Yeah, Tade is off. Well, let's hope this isn't a serious knock. It's Kohei Matsumoto, the Japanese forward, who's coming on.
Yeah, Grazia has gone off, Gordon.
And it is Manuel Briganti. So substitutions being made in the final moments of this match. The OFC President's Cup final, Auckland City 2, Amicale 1. Amicale need to get the ball forward quickly. Here's Bongnine. Plays it over the top for Vakatalasau. Darren White now back in a defensive position against the big Fijian. The cross comes in. Damilip's at the far post, but the cross is going to beat him and the Auckland defence. It's a goal kick. Less than a minute to go. And Auckland City going to be the first winners of the OFC President's Cup. Or have Amicale got something left in the tank, some form of character and bravery and courage? Tim Payne. Beelan. Well, Amicale have to press on this ball. Beelan's lost it. 4 minutes of additional time to be played. Plenty of time for Amicale to level this game at least.
But not with passes as such.
No, you're quite right. Visilic. Tim Payne's going to take this into the corner. Iwata. Beelan. Iwata, Kim, Irving, cut out by Ian Hogg. Is there a twist in the tail of this President's Cup final? Have Amicale got something left? Panagiotis runs into Visilic. It's clipped over the top for Masavakalo. Belanga. Back to the goalkeeper, who clears his lines as far as De Vries. Iwata decides that he's going to pump this long. Vakatalasau. Amicale have 4 players in the penalty area waiting for a cross. Vakatalasau tries to win a corner. He's got the ball back. Dominic Fred. And it's a goal kick. Time the enemy now for the men in red. And they're heading towards a third cup final defeat to Auckland City in 4 years.
They must be thinking on that Amicale bench with Andrew Leong, what do we need to do to beat this Auckland City team? Well, not during normal ordinary games, but when it matters the most.
Exactly. Of course, Indra, perhaps part of the answer to that question is in this ongoing recruitment process that we talked about, but that is for another day. In the short term, Amicale are battling to equalise in a cup final that they led in. And we haven't seen enough from Dominic Fred in an attacking sense. Amicale could certainly use some inspiration from him here. Here's Damelip. Ian Hogg, if he can get a quality ball in, there might be a chance for Amicale. Goes to the far post, and there's no takers.
The champions of Oceania. The Oceania champions will definitely look like they'll be adding another trophy to their cabinet.
Payne, that's a good leap. De Vries going to the corner flag. He has stopped his watch. Well, what have we learned from this match in terms of the OFC Champions League remains to be seen. But what we can certainly say is that that closing gap between all the clubs in Oceania continues to get smaller. Iwata's header back. Dominic Fred. Oh, there's an opportunity. Presents itself right at the death for Amicale. Oh, and it's hit the crossbar. Can you believe it?
How close. And I think Osea will be off if it is him.
I think there's a card in the hand of the referee.
Yep, that will be second yellow. He's off.
Yellow. A second yellow and a red. What drama to end this match. Amicale have hit the crossbar. Osea Vakatalasau gets a second yellow card and finally a red. And Amicale were centimetres away from an equaliser.
I thought that ball was dipping in as we watch it here. Look, how close was that?
There was nothing John Irvin could have done except watch. Oh, and that, of course, a more unsavoury side to that stoppage. As we see the last of Vakatalasau. And Auckland City have won the President's Cup with a 2-1 victory over Amicale. They lost one trophy on the domestic front to Team Wellington. They've won another that's taken in teams from the Asian Football Confederation, CONCACAF, and of course the OFC. And what better way to send off? What better way to be sent off to the FIFA Club World Cup than going the entire month of November with victories, 7 wins in 7 games, and you can see there the spirit in which this game was played. Chika Mansale with handshakes for Ryan de Vries and Angel Belanga.
Yeah, and again, Gordon, as you mentioned, the FIFA World Club Cup, they're off to that. Auckland City, all the best to them, but definitely they were in for a fight tonight, and that last minute, if that would have gone in, we would have been playing extra time after this whistle. But Auckland City, the champions of 2014 OFC President's Cup, they would have learnt a lot from here, and then they'll be going to the World Club, and they definitely will be wanting to do Oceania proud.
Well, they've won 5 trophies in this calendar year. ASB Premiership, OFC Champions League, and now the OFC President's Cup among them. Let's look at some of the highlights. Palmed away by Chika Mansale. Remember, Amicale were leading by a goal to 0. 7 minutes in, and then this corner from Emiliano Tade. Punched clear by Mansale, who had a good game, but just not enough big performances consistently throughout the 90 minutes from Amicale, unfortunately. This shot from Daewit Kim flew high over the bar. And 7 minutes later, a Tade corner was wound in. Header from Belanga, easy one for Mansale. And in the 63rd minute, this from Emiliano Tade off the left foot, straight into the back of the net. And with it, the OFC President's Cup Golden Boot. It's his 3rd Golden Boot win. It's a hat-trick of Golden Boots, if you like, for Tade to go next to his ASB Premiership and OFC Champions League Golden Boots. 4 goals for this tournament. Francois Sakama trying to beat Tamati Williams. He got a lot of space down that right-hand side this evening. And Ian Hogg just wound the ball in. Grazia and Tamati Williams won that comfortably. Then here it was, this opportunity to give Auckland City the lead and ultimately the trophy, cleverly hoisted over the top of an advancing Chika Mansale. Ian Hogg couldn't get there in time. The covering defender couldn't either, and Auckland had turned the situation on its head. 8 minutes left. There was still chances being produced. De Vries might have got that on target at another time. And then 3 minutes to go. Chika Mansale performing some more heroics off an Angel Belanga effort. Belanga didn't get a clean connection and still ended up at net. So let's get some post-match reaction from the people that mattered the most.
Anthony, unfortunately not the result you were looking for tonight. Once again, Auckland City's got one over on Amicale. What are your thoughts on how today went?
A bit disappointing we didn't come away with a win, but I mean, I can't fault the team's performance. I mean, we're going through a rebuilding phase, and I mean, the boys did fantastically today.
In terms of that rebuilding phase, what was this tournament like for you? It's a chance to play against some top quality sides from around the world?
Yes, it is, and we were quite happy with what we did this week. I mean, we've exceeded our expectations for this week, and yeah, the boys, lived up to their performances, and we're really happy.
Thanks, Anthony. Ramon?
is going to remain long in the memory. That is one of the best results, if not the best result in Vanuatu football.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, beating Busaitin, the Bahrainian giants who came and played here, as we cross to Jackie again with the Auckland City coach.
Okay. Congratulations, Ramon. Another trophy for the cabinet. How are you feeling today?
Thank you. Very good. It was a very tight game. Once again, very difficult. We had to come back from a 1-0 down. But, very happy that the boys, kept playing with the same ideas once again. And we didn't crumble, we showed the character, to come back once again.
Yeah. So Amicale keep getting away from you guys, getting that goal, and you're having to come from behind. Any insight into what's going on there?
Well, it's part of the game, I think we had 3 great chances actually in the first half, and they had that counter attack, and look, it was a cracking goal. Look, that's part of the game. The good thing for us is that we kept creating the chances, we kept playing with the same idea. We made a change in the second half, and I think it helped us create some more chances, especially the last 25 minutes. And look, we scored the second, and there we go.
So a lot coming up for Auckland City. Some big games on your way to the Club World Cup. Can you tell us a bit about what's coming up?
Well, yeah, the Club World Cup, as you said, we've got one more game at home, and then we head to Morocco. We're going to play a friendly game against Uzbekistan, which is going to be another great test, like tonight. And then the Club World Cup in Morocco. That's obviously, it's a big thing. It's massive. It's going to be a very difficult game. But look, it's still we're still a little bit far away, or not too far away. But there's still quite a few days, So let's enjoy this, and then we'll think about what's coming from tomorrow.
Thanks, Ramon.
Thank you.
So a very happy Auckland City coach, and there are a number of awards to present this evening as we complete the inaugural OFC President's Cup. Fair Play Award, Golden Boots, Golden Glove, and the Golden Ball Awards. The match officials too will be acknowledged, and then of course the medals for third, second and first, and then finally the trophy presentation. And Indra, you've been here for the duration of the tournament. Where do you see some of these awards going? I've no idea what the final call on these were, but if I speculate, I think Borden Town might be a nice pick for fair play.
Yeah, Borden Town, I think earlier on today when they played the Fijian under-20s, I thought they played their best game in this tournament, the way they featured today. And Singapore under-23s, they played a decent game against Busaitin earlier on, kept them at bay until the 60th or so minute, and as the teams get geared up. Well, yeah, Gordon, just looking at it, Auckland City, as usual, you don't leave them, and we watched that, how they got this win here, the OFC President's Cup. Tade, left foot drive, and as we said, the first half, Sakama with a right. This time Tade said, I can do what you did, and he bulleted with his left foot right past Chikau Mansale. No chance for the Amicale and the Vanuatu national team goalkeeper. Look at that.
Yeah, Michel Grazzi, it was the one and only time he got the better of him in that position. So the Fair Play Award has gone to Amicale. And Chika Mansale comes to collect that award. So the golden boot, by my reckoning, belongs to Emiliano Tade, but I just wonder how serious his injury is. Somebody may have to come forward and collect that.
Yeah, Tade as well. As you mentioned, he's won a number of golden boots in the ASB Premiership, OFC Champions League, and his wardrobe will be looking good with the boots. As he walks, he looks fine. Should be all good, but we'll know more later about his injury.
Well, he's really come into his own since he became first choice striker at Auckland City. He was very much playing second fiddle to the likes of Manel Exposito and Louis Corrales. But now he is the number one man with a big future.
And Daniel will be presenting this trophy to Ramon Seeley of Bodden Town.
Well, no surprise for me. Bodden Town's Ramon Seeley has won the Golden Glove Award. A superb goalkeeper. Tremendous character as well, on and off the pitch.
He's a giant of a goalkeeper, isn't he?
Presented by Kiwi Water, the official drink of the OFC President's Cup.
The OFC President's Cup Golden Ball Trophy will be presented by Sudesh Jujunwala from Sudima Hotels.
And the Golden Ball will be presented by Sudima Hotels. And Amicale's Nikos Panagiotis has won the Golden Ball. Thoroughly deserved. A wonderful talent, and he's going to be very difficult for Amicale to keep.
Yeah, and what a debut for him in the Oceania region in terms of the Oceania tournaments. Nikos.
Player of the Tournament Award, so congratulations to Nikos.
Some consolation for him with his team losing in the final, but Nikos, the player we all want to watch as the OFC Champions League comes around in April.
Call upon the match officials to come forward and receive their awards. They will be presented by Vuksic and Boric's Ray Vuksic. If the officials could please come forward.
So the match officials for today, Amatesh Bihari, Terry Piri, Folio Mwaiaki and Nelson Sogo of Fiji, Cook Islands, Tonga and Solomon Islands respectively, each receiving their medals, along with the rest of the referee contingent here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will also be presenting 3 team awards for 3rd, 2nd and 1st place. These awards will be presented by all of our sponsors, including Pegasus Sports Foundation, Sudima Hotels, Kiwi Water, Winger Hyundai and Pacific Direct Line. I would ask the captain and the players and team officials of our 3rd place team, all the way from Bahrain, Busatin FC.
Hisham Haram, the skipper of Busatin, leading his team forward to collect the bronze medals. And many, including myself, had them pegged down as favourites for this tournament based on the fact they're a full-time professional team. It hasn't worked out that way. They've collected bronze, but nevertheless they've been wonderful ambassadors for their club, their national association and also their confederation. It's been a true pleasure to have Busatin in New Zealand.
And what a stunner of a goal they scored today in that playoff. Yeah.
The top 3 sides will all be awarded here this evening, of course, for this inaugural OFC President's Cup 2014. And they will also collect their medals.
The way that Busatin engaged with the school children in Henderson, and the way that they really bought into the idea that they were here to promote football in a different part of the world where perhaps, unlike in their country, a place where football's not the number 1 sport. It's been a true pleasure to have them here.
Busatin, of course, proved true entertainers of the tournament, defeating the Fiji under-20s by 7 goals to 1 and involved in one of the games of the tournament against Amicale.
Hisham Naim's goal against Singapore will live long in the memory. If you haven't seen that, be sure to check the highlights at www.oceaniafootball.com tomorrow. He absolutely lashed that past Saizwan Bihari. It was an incredible strike.
I mean, that's what the tournament of such a magnitude has brought to Oceania region, Gordon, with the teams like Bahrain and Busatin. And you get to see that, you get to learn the younger players who play against them. The younger players who have been part of this tournament have picked up so much by playing against the likes of Busatin and the imports that have come into play for Amicale and Auckland City, not to forget them. It's a great experience for the young team. Singapore under 23, Fiji under 20s preparing for the World Cup. Now they know what real football means in the professional world.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves. These guys get paid. This is what they do for a living. And it wasn't so long ago that they had lifted the league title in their own country. They've had a tremendous value, and although the crowds may not have been as we originally had hoped, I think the gains for football and the relationships that have come out of this and the development opportunities for the likes of the team from your country, Fiji under 20 and Singapore under 23 and Amicale and Auckland have been immeasurable, in fact, highly valuable. Football is a unifying power across language, culture and geography.
Unfortunately, every final, while it has a victor, also has a team of defeated heroes. The team, unfortunately, who have to settle for second place tonight will come forward now, led by their captain. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Amicale FC.
The Red Rooster.
The Red Roosters of Amicale. A third cup final defeat to Auckland City, but they're on the right track. There's no doubt about that. That goal by Francois Sakama was an absolute stunner, worthy of gracing any final. And it's just come up short for them yet again. But they've got 5 months ahead of them to prepare, learn from the experience and take it forward.
Yeah, they still got the skipper, the regular skipper, Sava Nangalada, to come in with talks that there might be a few more that Andrew Leong and his brigade will be bringing in. This is the team to watch out for, and I'm already sure that apart from Auckland City, who the other Oceania teams used to fear, now they will think, should we be in Amicale's pool for the Champions League?
Well, imagine if they drew each other in that competition.
I'd also like to thank people that made this possible, of course, our sponsors, UNICEF, Sedima Hotels, Vuksic and Boric, Kiwi Water, Winger Hyundai.
I would really love to see the Busatin or the likes to be back next season in the OFC President's Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty obvious what the potential for this tournament is. And we were talking about it before, that if you were to host this tournament in the Solomons or Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, you're just going to get big crowds. It's just the way it is.
I was just sitting down here thinking a while ago, Gordon, just imagine if this final was being played at the Port Vila Stadium.
Well, I was there for the first leg of the Champions League final, and 10,000 people turned up. It was an amazing experience. Busatin, bronze medal winners. Amicale awaiting their turn to collect their medals.
If I could now once again ask you to put your hands together for our runners-up for the OFC President's Cup 2014, Amicale FC.
Chica Mansale, Manuel Briganti behind him, who only got a couple of minutes at the end of the final. Adrian Achino, Ian Hogg, Michelle Grazia, Nikos Panagiotis, Brian Keltak, Alphonse Bongheim, Francois Sakama, the scorer of 2 fantastic goals.
Having to defeat, of course, Busuttin, who we've already seen tonight collect.
Sakama's header against Busuttin was a highlight for me. I really enjoyed that goal.
Yeah. It's also one player. Well, the attackers are always there. Brian Keltak. That is one player I would love to really see, and I do believe he's in the Vanuatu under 23 side. He's the skipper. Or more about like that. If the Pacific Games does happen and that goes ahead, what an interesting team they will have.
Yeah.
And judging from the under-20 playoffs we had earlier this year, Vanuatu, Solomons, Papua New Guinea, some real good talent coming through the ranks in the Pacific football, Oceania football, and to be guided and playing against the likes of Bahrainians, Club Busuttin, Singapore under-23, Bowden Town, not to forget about Bowden Town, Auckland City, definitely the Oceania champions. It's only going to get exciting.
Yeah, and for me, Brian Keltak's become a man at this tournament. He's starting to fill out physically, and his confidence as well.
Yeah.
He started this game tonight in the right positive frame of mind, and I think over the last couple of years we've seen him begin games tentatively and then grow into them, but here he started really well right from the off and continued that way throughout. And
he's guided well by Gracia, who's playing next to him, and it's going to really Ian Hogg on the outer left. It's going to be really interesting for a youngster like him. And then the other thing to look out for is in the Champions League. What team do we see on the field for Amicale, the Red Roosters? There's a lot of talking to them and just having a yarn with them earlier this week. They won that title.
They want it badly, yeah. It's one of the most sought after club trophy in Oceania football, and so many teams have got close to winning it and come up just short. I'm thinking of AS Magenta, Tawhea have had a crack, Bar have got close, and Amicale have got closest most of all and most often without being able to cross that magical line. Of course, Hikari won it in 2010. Let's not forget that. It's been 4 years, though, since they had that sort of major impact on the tournament. And they have sort of drifted away from, say, the top 4.
Yeah, the other thing too is they are not even the champions of Vanuatu. It's Tawhea.
Yeah.
And how interesting that will be. Tawhea might have something to say about the title as well.
Absolutely. They hold all the domestic trophies, and Amicale, much in the same way that Auckland did for a couple of years, they were winning in Oceania, but they weren't winning the ASB Premiership. And what you're looking at right there, folks, are the silver medalists, and they followed a similar pattern. Unable to completely dominate the domestic scene, but when it comes to continental competition, Amicale are almost peerless, with the exception of one team that keeps popping up all the time, and it's this team here, Auckland City, the Navy Blues, from Kiwitea Street in Sandringham.
By their vice captain Angel Berlanga, Auckland City FC.
Yeah, the champions of 2014, Auckland City.
That's right, ASB Premiership champions, OFC Champions League champions, ASB Premiership minor champions, and runners-up in the ASB Charity Cup, and OFC President's Cup winners at the first time of asking.
No doubt about that. They've taken Oceania football to another level over the years. Gordon, we've been following them. Now they are finally getting some challenge, and they're finally facing competition from the likes of Amicale and most probably the other teams that will be coming into the Champions League next season. Auckland City have flown the Oceania flag really well, not forgetting Waitakere as well from New Zealand. But Auckland City, grand ambassadors, and to be led by a person like Ivan Veselic, who is a real, as I call him, the ambassador of Oceania football, and he has really kept and played, and Ramon, the coach, it's just a fantastic team, and the entire Oceania family will be behind them as they head off to the FIFA World Club Cup in two weeks, a week from now.
Correct. Well, I can tell you, having worked closely with this team over the last 4 years, they take their role and responsibility as the premier club side in the region very seriously, and they're very cognizant of not only representing themselves and their country, but all of the region They do have a social responsibility program in Vanuatu through the Butterfly Trust, and they do make a lot of kit donations. They're true citizens of Oceania in that sense. And there is the chairman, Mr. Ivan Vuksic, in the blue jacket.
And not forgetting people of Fiji who hold this team close to their heart ever since Roy Krishna.
That's right.
Joined them, and then look where he is now. So congratulations again to Auckland City, grand ambassadors of Oceania football.
Well, bigger things on the horizon. Friendly with Uzbekistan. A ASB Premiership match with Team Wellington in the capital. That's on November the 30th. I did omit that in the commentary, but Uzbekistan then a few days later, and of course Maghreb Tetuan.
Smiles all around. But the hard work has started with FIFA World Club Cup. This is locked, as Ramon said. They'll celebrate tonight. From tomorrow, how the hard work continues. They've got one more game in the ASB Premiership before they depart, Gordon.
Yeah, exactly. Team Wellington, a big game.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together now for OFC.
Well, David Chung, the OFC president, has done this so many times. A handshake for Ivan Visilic and a handover of a trophy. Ivan Visilic, the old campaigner, 38 years of age and doesn't get sick of winning.
OFC President's Cup champions.
There they are, the OFC President's Cup champions for the first time, the inaugural tournament, the ideal send-off to the FIFA Club World Cup. And thoroughly deserved. 3 wins from 3 games. And a beautiful trophy to go with it from Thomas Light. And it makes up for the disappointment of the ASB Charity Cup. That will pale into insignificance. And a happy Auckland City supporters group. They follow the team all over the country, and occasionally 1 or 2 of them get to the Club World Cup. And a salute for the fans.
They have their faithful here tonight, savoring the victory, the trophy.
So that concludes coverage of the inaugural OFC President's Cup. It's been a true pleasure to bring you the action over the past week. And on behalf of my colleagues Indra Singh, Miles Davis, John Butterworth and Alan Yates, I've enjoyed bringing you the coverage. I'm Gordon Watson. We'll see you sometime very soon. In the meantime, take care and good evening.